Raise your hand if your emotions ever made you say something you regret, make a decision you wish you could take back, or completely ruin what should have been a good day. Yeah, me too. Here's what nobody tells you. Emotional resilience isn't about feeling less. It's about feeling everything without being controlled by it. And it's a learnable skill. I'm about to share 5 research-backed strategies that will literally change your brain and give you back control of your life. These aren't feel-good platitudes. This is real neuroscience that works. Ready to become emotionally unshakable? Let's go. Hey there, and welcome back to Hope Regained. I'm your host, Christiane Boudreau, and today we're diving deep into something that literally changed everything for me. And I mean everything. We're talking about emotional resilience. Now, before you think it's going to be another just think positive thoughts, well, hold up. This is the real deal. This is about becoming emotionally bulletproof while still staying human, still feeling deeply, but not letting those feelings hijack your entire life. Do you know what's crazy? We spend years in school learning about math, history, language, which, don't get me wrong, these are all important. But nobody teaches us how to handle our emotions when life hits us like a freight train. Nobody teaches us what to do when anxiety feels like it's eating us alive, or when that breakup makes us feel like we're drowning, or when work stress has us lying awake in bed at 3 a.m. How are we going to make it through tomorrow? And I learned this all the hard way. And that's exactly why this episode exists. My life was like a train wreck. I was dealing with so much stress, but I couldn't cope with any of it because my emotions always got in the way of sensible decisions, moving forward, or my reactions to everything was leaving me feel completely stressed out and overwhelmed. And sometimes, and I'm going to be honest here, I didn't even want to wake up in the morning. It was just too much, and I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. The crazy part is, I thought this was absolutely normal, that some people were just more emotionally inclined, that was just part of my personality. What I didn't realize is that emotional resilience, the ability to feel your feelings without being controlled by them, is actually a skill, a learnable, practicable, get better at everyday life skill. And it's something that you can learn too. So what exactly is emotional resilience? Well, think of it like this. You know how some people seem to handle stress and setbacks in their life, and they're like they're made of rubber or something. It just bounces off of them. Life throws something at them and they bend, but they don't break. They stay steady. It's not because they don't feel things or feel things deeply. It's actually, they can. And it's not because they're cold or disconnected or unfeeling. It's because they've developed emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is your ability to experience the emotions, feel them, all of them, even the uncomfortable ones, without being overwhelmed by them. It's like being the driver in the car of your own emotional company instead of being held hostage by every feeling that walks through the door. Now, if you've listened to my other episode way back on emotional intelligence, and if you haven't, go back and check it out because it's the basis of understanding your own emotions, and it goes perfectly with today's topic. You'll remember that emotional intelligence is about understanding and managing emotions. Well, emotional resilience is like emotional intelligence, and that's the first step. But it's the incredibly strong and older sibling that takes care of you. So here's what's really fascinating about emotional resilience. And this is backed by tons of research. And I had to look it all up to understand where it came from in the first place. To remember, your brain is literally designed to be rewired. And I've talked about this before about the neuroplasticity. That's the stretching and rewiring and relearning. It basically means your brain can form new neural pathways throughout your entire life. These studies come from places like Harvard Medical School or the American Psychological Association. It's out there. It's not like it can't be found. And it shows that people who practice emotional resilience techniques actually change their brain structure, physically change it. The areas responsible for emotional regulation get stronger, while the areas that trigger the fight or flight response become less reactive. And that's also important on the cortisol levels and controlling them. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. There's research from Dr. Martin Seligman on positive psychology, and it shows that resilience isn't something that you're born with or without. It's a set of skills and mindsets that can be developed. People who score high on resilience measures don't experience fewer negative events in their lives. I mean, we all go through them and they're all different levels for us. It's just they handle them differently. And that's what we're going to be learning here. Let's talk about what happens when we don't have emotional resilience, because I think we've all been there, right? You know that feeling when someone says something that triggers you and suddenly you're in full reactive mode. Your heart starts racing, your thoughts are spinning, and you're either shutting down completely or saying things you'll regret later. Or maybe you're the type that takes it all in internally. You smile on the outside, but inside you're replaying every single word, analyzing every tone, and then you start spiraling in all the worst case scenarios. When we lack emotional resilience, our emotions become the boss. They tell us what to think, how to act, and what decisions to make. We become reactive instead of responsive in a healthy way. We make choices based out of fear or anger, frustration, sometimes hurt, instead of from a place of wisdom and clarity mixed with logic. I used to do these things where if I had a bad morning, maybe I spilled coffee on myself or got stuck in traffic, which happens a lot, that would set my tone for the rest of the day. It would get me in that headspace of tension. One small negative event would snowball. And then suddenly it was just a bad day. Looking back, it's almost comical how much power I gave to all these external circumstances. And a lot of us do it. The first step in building emotional resilience is getting curious about your own emotional patterns. And I mean, really curious, not judgmental, really understanding them. So we need to start paying attention to your emotional triggers. What situations, people, or thoughts? When do they tend to send you into that emotional tailspin, an overwhelming feeling? For me, a lot of times it was criticism. Even constructive feedback would send me in a spiral. And we all need that to get better. That's part of growth. But I would take it as proof that I wasn't good enough, that I was a failure, and that everyone could see how bad I was. Kind of insane, right? Once you identify your triggers, you can start to notice the physical sensations that come with the different emotions. Anxiety might show up as tightness in your chest, or you might feel burning tightness in your stomach. Anger might be heat raising to your face or gritting your teeth and clenching your fists. Sadness might feel so heavy, like there's a weight on your chest or you just can't breathe. The goal isn't not to feel the feelings. It's to recognize them as information rather than sending instructions to your brain, if that makes sense. This is where journaling can really help out. You can reflect back on what you've written and the emotions you were feeling at the time and what those triggers were. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff. The actual strategies that science has proven work for building emotional resilience. I'm going to cover 5 of them here. And because I'm always open to learning, if you know of others, please let us know. That way we can share it with each other and continue to grow in an uplifting community. Strategy number 1, the pause practice. And this is probably one of the most powerful tools in your emotional toolkit. It's so simple. It almost seems too good to be true. But when you feel a strong emotion starting to come up from somewhere, pause. Literally, that's it. Just pause. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Go lock yourself in the bathroom if you have to, just to buy yourself some time. Research from the University of Rochester shows that this simple pause can literally change your brain's response to that emotional trigger. It activates your prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, the logical part, instead of letting your amygdala, which is the kids with the tantrum back there, that emotional brain, run the show. I can't tell you how many arguments, bad decisions, regrettable texts and emails this practice has saved me from. Right? So strategy number 2 is the name it to tame it strategy. This comes from Dr. Dan Siegel's research, and it's really powerful. When you're experiencing a strong emotion, literally just name it. You can say it out loud or in your head and say, I'm feeling maybe really anxious right now, or I notice I'm feeling angry. And I do this throughout the day. It helps me put into practice everything and recognize what's going on inside of me. UCLA research shows that using with brain imaging, when we name our emotions, it actually reduces the activity in the amygdala. That's that child tantrum part. That's the brain's alarm system. It's like you're taking some of the charge or electricity out of the emotions just by acknowledging it's there. It helps to rein it back in. This one, like I said, it's key for me and I use it all day long. Strategy number 3 is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed, and I get overwhelmed on a regular basis, this technique brings you back to the present. So it's part of that whole mindfulness thought process. If you name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It's not just a distraction technique. It's actually engaging your sensory system, which helps regulate your nervous system. Trauma therapists use variations of this technique because it's so effective. And it helps bring people out of their emotional overwhelm. I usually have to count backwards from 10 before even moving to this technique, just because it gets me to a place where I can think first. Just that deep breath, count backwards from 10, and then go through the sensory steps. Strategy number 4, reframing your inner dialogue. So pay close attention to how you talk to yourself, especially during difficult emotions. That's when we tend to bring out the bat. Like, are you saying things, I'm a mess, or can't deal with this anymore, or this is terrible? Does that sound familiar? That bat comes out. You start beating yourself up. Try reframing those thoughts. Instead of, I can't handle this, try, okay, this is challenging and I'm learning how to handle it. Or instead of, I'm such a mess, try, I'm human and I'm having a human experience. Cognitive behavioral therapy research shows that changing our self-talk literally changes our emotional experience. In order for me to get it, I actually completed a CBT course for certification. That's how committed I was with my decision to change my life. And it was a long course. Strategy number 5, building your emotional vocabulary. Most of us operate with the basic 3 to 5 emotions. It's what we learn in school. Good, bad, stressed, I'm fine, or maybe angry and sad. But researchers have identified hundreds of distinct emotional states. And the more precisely you can identify what you're feeling, the more detail that you can get, the better you can address it. So, are you anxious or excited? Are you sad or disappointed? Are you angry or are you feeling just frustrated? There's actually a really huge difference. And your brain will respond differently when you can be really specific about what emotion you're feeling at that moment. So here's something else that might surprise you. One of the most important components of emotional resilience is self-compassion. And I keep saying that as well. Self-compassion. Forgive yourself. Be easy on yourself. Dr. Kristen Neff's research shows that people who are kind to themselves during difficult times bounce back much faster. And they're more emotionally stable overall. Most of us have this inner critic that goes into overdrive when we're struggling. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to a friend. Would you ever say, you're so stupid for feeling this way? Hopefully not. So why say it to yourself? Or something else like, everyone else can handle this. What's wrong with you? Or you should be over this by now. And I'm sure you've heard that one sometimes. Hopefully, we're not talking that way to ourselves or anybody else for that matter. What if instead you talk to yourself the way you'd like to talk to your best friend or somebody who was going through a difficult time? What would you say to them? You'd probably be much more understanding, wouldn't you? And encouraging, uplifting, and supportive. Maybe you would even remind them of their strengths and resilience that they have inside. Why can't you start doing that to yourself? Because that's what we should be doing. That's called self-compassion. And it's not self-indulgence or anything else. It's actually one of the most practical skills you can develop. You have to start somewhere. So building emotional resilience isn't a one and done kind of thing. I keep talking about work and it's self-commitment that we have to keep working on ourselves and getting there. It's like getting physically fit. You can't just go to the gym once and think that's going to do it. It's something that you have to practice consistently before you can see results. Start small, baby steps again. Pick 1 or 2 strategies that resonated with you today and commit to practicing over the next week. Maybe it's the pause practice. That's one of the easier ones to do. And every time you feel triggered, pause, take a few deep breaths, and then look at it again. Or maybe it's the naming practice of just really recognizing different expressions, the true description of what your emotion is that you're feeling at that moment. The key is consistency over perfection. You're literally rewiring your brain, and that takes time, practice, consistency, and repetition. And remember, building emotional resilience doesn't mean you stop feeling things deeply. Not at all. I still feel everything. I feel joy. I feel sadness. I feel frustration, excitement, sometimes even anxiety. The difference is that now my emotions are passengers in my car instead of the driver. They give me important information that I need to know and understand, but they don't control where I'm going to go. And that's what we want to work with all of you to get there too. Now, let me give you some practical ways to start integrating this into your daily life right now. Let's start off with a morning routine, and you could start your day with an emotional check-in. Not to judge or change how you're feeling, but just to acknowledge it. Like you could say, I'm feeling anxious about the meeting today, or I'm really excited about having dinner with my friends tonight. Then during the day, you can practice the pause. Whenever you feel triggered, even a 3-second pause can change everything. So that will be during the day. And then in evening, you can do a reflection. So this is a good time for journaling, for example. Before bed, you could think about one moment during the day when you handled an emotional situation really well, or another situation and add to it where maybe you could have handled it a bit better and how. Remember, this is just practicing. So there will be days when you feel like your emotions are running the show again. And you know what? That's totally normal. The goal isn't about perfection. It's about practice and progress. Developing emotional resilience has been one of the most life-changing skills I've ever learned. It's given me my power back, essentially, and it's allowed me to show up as the person I want to be instead of being at the mercy of whatever happened that day or whatever I'm feeling in the moment. You have everything within you right now to start building this skill. You don't need any special equipment, and you don't need perfect circumstances. You don't even need to feel ready. You just need to start. I've created a worksheet that goes along with this episode, and you can find it on the website at www.hoperegain.com. It includes reflection questions, practical exercises, and a daily emotional resilience tracker so that you can track your progress and how things are coming along. And that will help you with the implementation of everything that I've covered today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone that you care about. You know, any little bit could help. It could be a difference for them as well. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and on Threads, and a few posts on Pinterest as well. So we're all over the place. And if you want to send us a message, we love hearing from you. Please feel free to make a comment or send it privately in a direct message or through our website. You've got this. You're worth it. And until next week, keep rediscovering your love for life.